Hello folks, here we are again, back at the sky. The sky is our timepiece. We know who we are and where we are. We understand what's in the heavens above. And all the secret societies, secret organisations, the black nobility, the nobles, or whatever you want to call them, the New World Order, they know this. They know that the sky is the key because it's from the heavens. These fallen angels fell from these constellations, these movements, so they understand their movements, and they understand that time and our calendar is really so important, not by looking at the watches and the hours that they gave us, but by looking into the heavens. And a clear example of this, which I'm going to show, that it's no secret, most people know, the Messiah, Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call him, said, "Narrow is the way and few find it." Now, the spine of Albion is the ley line, the middle path, and if you haven't seen my other posts on that, then I don't know whose page you're looking at, but my page is full of posts in regards to the spine of Albion being the middle path, and the two Kundalini energies travelling up that middle path, the white or the wicker, with the Isle of Wight at the bottom of the spine of Albion. So this snake here represents the spine of Albion. It sits under Orion's belt. But it's no secret that Scottish accepted, ancient accepted Freemasonry is holding the secrets, and they tell us by the three pillars of Masonry. And the three pillars of Masonry are basically Libra, the scales, which is justice, Cancer, which is at the gates of Jehoiakim and Boaz, the two pillars, and that represents strength. And the third pillar of Masonry is mercy, the seat of mercy, which is Aries, the Lamb of God. So these are the three pillars of Masonry, the narrow way, as seen from a Masonic initiation point of view. And as someone has already pointed out, this Masonry has 7 degrees, which is the York Rite, and you've got the basic 3 houses, which is the Scottish, ancient accepted Scottish Rite. You can then go further on to the Scottish Rite, but the ancient accepted Blue Lodge has 3 degrees, and you can see this snake here with 1, 2, 3. Some say that this is Jacob's ladder. This is Ficus, the strong man, the 13th house, the 13th constellation, sitting over Libra. And the reason why people say that this is the 3 steps to Masonry up into the Ark, the Royal Ark, which is what this is in the sky, is because the Corona Borealis is here, and the serpent, snakes and ladders, yeah, Jacob's ladder, and the serpent is reaching for the Corona Borealis. We also had, in Britain, we had Boris Johnston, Corona Borealis. Boris Israel is an anagram of Corona Borealis. I did mention that at the time when he took power, or before he took power, that he would likely become the Prime Minister of the UK. I think it was back in 2017, because he'd done a ceremony at Trafalgar, I think it was, where the gates of Palmyra, or he opened the gates. He'd done so it was obvious he was going to be, even the name anyway, Corona Borealis, Boris Israel. So yeah, so the journey begins. It's all a game of snakes and ladders in the sky, but what I wanted to actually show is that this here is the legal system, from Libra through Cancer and through to Aries. That is the bar, what we understand. People aren't understanding what I'm saying in my post, but basically when we look up in the heavens here, this arc here, let's put it back down again straight, this here is Arcturus, right? So this is the arc, and as I've said before, there are certain beasts, the Kraken, recent variant of a virus we're supposed to have. You've got the Draco, and you've got a number of snakes, and then this great snake, the great orm, Ormiston, or the great Eridanus, or the great snake of Hades, the river of Hades. The Eridanus to the Greek was seen as the great river that took you away from the river of life. And this here is central Scotland. This has all been mapped. I've mapped this all over central Scotland, beginning in the Western Isles, and then you've got Virgo, you've got Mull and Iona, and Leo, you've got it sits over the area of Glencoe, sort of Cancer. It sits just as you're coming into like Loch Lomond, and Orion's belt sits right over Glasgow and Ayrshire, and the Taurus field sits immediately over Glasgow, and then Aries sits immediately over Edinburgh, which is the Lamb of God, the city of God. And the Leviathan, the great beast, is where we get the word Lothian. But what I'm seeing with people, they're reading my post, but they're not getting it. This is the bar, this level. This is on the level. You know, if you're a Mason, you're on the level. You have these instruments of measurements, and you're on the level. This is what the Druid, Jesus spoke about, the taking up your cross. This is the spine of Albion going up, and then there's a cross coming across here, known as the ecliptic in the sky. And the sun and the moon and the stars, even the wandering stars, travel through this area, through an area which is known as the monoceros, which is the unique horn. And this is why it's important for us to understand what the calendar is. When in Genesis 1:14, the Bible is it's a hidden gem of knowledge, but the Bible tells us long before any instruction is given, any laws or anything else is given, long before Moses is given the laws, or the laws are given to Moses, we're given one command, and it's Genesis 1:14, where it says, "See, I have established the sun, moon, and the stars. They shall be as signs and seasons for you." Now, the word signs and seasons is omens, a telltale sign, something to look out for. And as I've mentioned before, the Pictish stones all over Britain, even the Goldspace stones, they depict these four creatures: the Cetus, the Kraken, the Draco, the dragon, and the snake, and Swirly, and various other things that are on the standing stones. And these standing stones, these Pictish standing stones, were showing the new elements, the new creatures that fell, the new ones, the fallen angels who appeared in the heavens. And it's a game of snakes and ladders. If we don't understand the movement of the heavens, then we'll be pulled into their time warp sort of thing, their 24-hour period, their Monday to Friday, January to December, when really the only command that was given by an almighty creator in the code book is look at the heavens, Genesis 1:14. "See, I've established the sun, moon and stars, they shall be as signs, seasons, unomened for you." Now, you see here you've got the moon, Venus, the sun, Jupiter, Uranus. All the planets actually move through this portion of the sky over the central belt of Scotland. And everything below the central belt of Scotland is the great, at the foot of Regal. Regal is the Regis where you register your name, your birth certificate. You can be the strong man and take hold of your straw man. You can be the strong man and take hold of your straw man identity and face the Taurus field, which is the almighty creator, and go on to become the Lamb of God. Or you can go down the rabbit hole. See the rabbit, I keep saying this to people, and once you go down the rabbit hole, you're into time, their sovereignty, more snakes and ladders. And I've said before as well, it's full of instruments of measurements. This is all Masonic masonry, time, measurements of water, and everything below Orion's belt, everything below the Eridanus, which is the great river Hades, which you see the souls going down to be regurgitated again the next day. So we need to stand up in our Christ, our unique horn, a unicorn. And as the sun and moon are travelling, we pick up the electromagnetic energies, the electricity from the sun, and the magnetic energies of the moon. But if we're not keeping the calendars at all, and we're not aware of what these snakes and ladders and beasts and all that are as they appear in the sky, we'll get caught up in their sin wave, we'll get caught up in their negativity, and we'll go back down the rabbit hole again. Our ancestors knew how to read the heavens. They knew that justice and the scales was the beginning, Libra. Libra was the beginning of the wayward journey, the soul journey, and it had to make its way to Aries before it reached Cygnus the Swan, the Northern Cross, which sits over Aberdeen. And this is why you have these beasts, which it mentions in the book of Revelation, the 4 beasts which are on the Euphrates. And again, the Euphrates is this great Eridanus river, this central belt. The Euphrates is the Nile Delta, the Euphrates is the Eridanus, is the river of life. This is the tree, and this is the canopy of the tree, and this is the straight and narrow way through the canopy. Now, what people don't understand is this here, citizenship. You can arise, sir, in the morning, you can arise and meet the sun in your unique horn, battle through the strong man, which is the strong will of yourself, your ego, and into the Taurus field, the Almighty, reaching the 7 sisters, your Pleiades, your 7 chakras and wholeness, and then into Aries, and up through the triangulum, up into the Cygnus the Swan, which is the cross, the foot of the cross. Or you can take the regal name, the registered name, you know, instead of being Jacob, the one who grabs hold by the heel, you become the one who's grabbed hold of by the heel. You become the usurped by the serpents, and you make your way again back down the snake, which is the great river Eridanus, also known as the river of Hades, which is what the Messiah says, and the gates of Hades, which is here, shall not prevail against you. The Hades sat within the 7 sisters. Underneath the 7 sisters is Hades. And here we see it in the sky here. This Argus Navi, this is what it's called. This is your citizenship, right? And there's Columbus, the dove, Noah, the flood, yeah? And he sent the dove out and it came back with a leaf. But this is the Columba, all tied to Christopher Columbus. I'm not going to go into that fraud, but anyway, it's all written in the heavens. But here you can see this is called the Pupus, or the Pupid Velids, the all-seeing eye, the anchor, the one that holds you down, the flying fish, the reptiles, the chameleon, the Lord of the Flies, you know. And this is where your registered birth certificate goes. On a ship, you have in the front of a ship is known as a pupus deck. Even today, maritime people will tell you that their records is kind of like a black box. All the records are kept in the pupus deck, so their log of how they travel through the waters, where they go, everything's put into this box, which is known as the pupus deck. And this is where we get the word pope. But the pupus deck itself actually pops out over Scotland, and this eye appears over Alexandria, which is near Helensburgh, just north of the Clyde, in Glasgow. So Alexandria, you know, the great record hall of Alexandria, where the records were kept, the Pupus records. And I believe this is, you know, they've recreated the Vatican, but the real Alexandria, Egypt, is on the Clyde, just above the Eridanus, and it testifies to it in the heavens, because this Argus Navi, Navi, by the way, means a prophet or a seer in Hebrew. So an Argos, all to do with Jason and the Argonauts and the labours of Hercules and so on and so on. Again, all written in this great tree in this portion of the sky. So I wanted to try and show people that the whole legal system is tied to understanding our concept of the movements in the heavens. We can arise the Sir. You know, this is why they get knighted as Sir. We can arise as the Sir, or we can go back down the rabbit hole into the Pupus deck, into their records, into their ship, into their citizenship. Or we can rise every morning in liberty, in justice, in Libra, being weighed. And this is what the Egyptians seen. When you passed through the great tree, you came up the Eridanus, you came through with the Egyptian pharaohs would travel on a boat, a vessel, and they would travel on a longboat or a boat. And you see the pictures of it with Isis and Osiris and Horus even on the boat travelling over this great waterway, which was known as the Aura, or the fields of dreams, or the fields of reeds, sorry, to the Egyptians. The field of dreams was what the Greeks called it. But this area is the field of dreams. It was a large valley going through central Scotland, and you would come up on the vessel, and then you would reach Anubis, the dog star, Cyrus, yeah, the land of cannabis, and you would have to be weighed, blue feather, red feather, your heart, and so on. And this is where the Egyptians went, you know, when they died, they stood before this in the Hall of Truth and the Hall of Judgment, and this is the entrance to the Hall of Judgment, the Great Gate of Judgment, travelling through as pure as a virgin as the day you were born, into Leo, a conquering lion, through the gates of duality, into Gemini, wrestling with the duality, into the picking up your Christ oil in the land of Canaan, the Canaan bus, going through Betelgeuse, the house of God disguised, into Orion's belt, and then into Aries, and then up into Cygnus the swan, which is the daily journey that Jesus talked about, taking up your cross daily. And what we need to do is stay on the bar, on the level here. Stay on the bar and stay out, basically. We need to stay out of this where these serpents are. And somebody else pointed out something quite interesting. Let me see. We'll put it round here. This is the great river Eridanus. Now, our calendar at this present time, because of what they've done, they've split it into 12 months, 4 seasons. But the actually Gallic calendar, or Celtic wheel, the Celtic wheel was split into 8. But something very interesting, we know that these serpents, these dragons and these beasts have made their way into the constellations, which is why we're told in Genesis 1:14 to observe the heavens, because then we can see them coming. But something very interesting, they've divided our months, our years into quarterly. So if I go, if I go 4 months, now if we look at Regal here, the snakes there, okay, let's zoom in a little bit, and I go 4 months back, 1, 2, 3, 4, you see there's a snake again, a Ficus, a different snake though. Go another 4 months back, 1, 2, 3, 4, again another snake, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, again the snake. So their calendar has us trapped into this sort of snakes and ladder sort of system. We can ascend, or we can follow their calendar and get caught up in the snake. So 1, 2, 3, 4, snake. 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 So, yeah, this is your citizenship, the legal fraud. This is the bar up here, the legal system. This is the Ark of the Covenant. This is the law of Moses. The law, or Scots law, is the bar. And anything below the bar, you're lost at sea, and you're on the Argus Navi. What we need to do is rise up and enter into the Taurus field through the gates of liberty, or justice, which is the scales of Libra, Cancer, Jehoiakim and Boaz, the duality, the 2 pillars, and then into Aries over Edinburgh, where we rise up and we ascend into Cygnus the swan. Hope this helps. It all ties to the legal system. Written above, as below, as within, as without, or out with, I should say.